Ever get that feeling like you want to really understand something complex, but like, not eventually, right now?
Totally.
Yeah, like dive right in. Well, that's kind of our thing here, and today we're going deep on the whole AI and personalized medicine thing.
Oh, yeah. That's a hot topic.
It really is, and we're also looking at drug discovery too. So it's kind of like a crash course on how AI is like totally changing the way we think about treating diseases and even creating like individual medicines.
It's wild.
It is, and we've gone through so much research to bring you like the really key points.
So we're like distilling it down for everyone. So
Exactly.
we're aiming to pull out the most important nuggets,
Yeah.
you show how AI is shifting the game for treating diseases, finding new medicines, and all with that personal touch.
Totally.
It
So before we like go crazy with the AI stuff, let's just like set the stage, get everyone on the same page. So personalized medicine, some people call it precision medicine.
Yeah, I've heard both.
Yeah, it's basically moving past that old one-size-fits-all healthcare model.
Right, like the same thing for everyone.
It doesn't really work. So personalized medicine is about tailoring treatments and prevention based on your unique situation.
Like a custom-made suit, but for your health.
Perfect analogy. So it's looking at your genes, your environment, even your lifestyle, like all the things that make you you. The goal is to give the right treatment to the right person at the right time. Like, think about cancer treatment now. It's pretty common to analyze a tumor to find the best therapy based on its specific genes.
No, absolutely. That's a prime example.
That's personalized medicine in a nutshell. Now, drug discovery, that's a whole other beast.
It is.
It's the process of finding and developing new therapies. And historically, this has been a long and winding road.
Yeah, it could be anything from like ancient remedies to huge libraries of chemicals.
So many different approaches. And modern drug discovery, it's a multi-stage process. You got to identify leads, optimize them for safety and effectiveness, and then you have preclinical testing, which is in the lab, often with animals, and then if you make it that far, you have human clinical trials.
Oh, and don't forget the regulatory approval process.
Right, a ton of hurdles. So as you can imagine, this traditional route, it takes forever. It costs billions, and unfortunately, a lot of promising drugs just they don't make it.
Sad but true, the failure rate is actually pretty high.
It is. It's a tough business. And that's where AI comes in, right? And it's not just some like far off sci-fi concept. It's here, it's now, and it has the potential to completely shake things up.
Yeah, it's really exciting. What's interesting is AI's power to analyze all this complex data,
Hmm.
right? That's where it shines. It
Uh,
gives us new ways to find drug targets, to predict how drugs will work in the body, and even to make clinical trials better and more efficient.
So we're talking faster development, safer trials, and ultimately healthcare that's truly tailored to each person.
Exactly. That's the holy grail.
So let's break down how AI and personalized medicine are working together, this whole synergy thing.
Great idea. Let's get into the details.
Okay, first up, AI-driven analysis of multi-omics data. That sounds super complicated.
It has a fancy name, but the idea is actually really cool. Multiomics data is all the biological information we can now collect. Think your genes, so genomics, all the RNA in your cells, transcriptomics, proteins, proteomics, even stuff from your wearables, plus your electronic health records.
Wow, that's a lot. It's like building a super detailed picture of a person's biology, right?
Exactly. It's like having a high-resolution map of you.
So we have this mountain of data, but how does AI make sense of it all? That seems like a big challenge.
That's where AI and machine learning really shine.
They come to the rescue.
Techniques like PCA or principal component analysis can find the most important patterns, even in huge data sets. It's like finding the main themes in a bunch of different stories.
Ah, okay, so it simplifies things.
Exactly, but it keeps all the essential info. And AI algorithms, they can spot those subtle patterns in your genes, your medical history, your lifestyle things that humans might miss, and use them to predict how you might respond to a specific treatment.
That's amazing. It's like AI sees things we can't even see.
In a way, yeah, and the accuracy is pretty remarkable.
So I've got to ask, is all this molecular data becoming more affordable? It seems like it would be so expensive.
It is getting more affordable, and that's actually key. As the cost of getting this data goes down, the real challenge becomes how to use it, how to make sense of it all.
Right, we're swimming in data.
Exactly. It's the classic big data problem, but in biology now. And AI is like the perfect tool for this. It can sift through all that data and find the nuggets that really matter.
Okay, so we've got this personalized picture of a person's biology. Now let's talk about diagnosis. How is AI changing the way we figure out what's wrong with someone?
AI is making diagnoses faster and more accurate. which is a huge win. It can combine info from all those sources we talked about, electronic health records, medical images, genomic data, and help doctors avoid making mistakes.
So it's like a safety net, catching things that might be missed.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
What about deep learning? I've heard that's making waves in medical imaging.
It is. Deep learning, which is a powerful kind of AI, is awesome at image recognition. It can be trained on tons of images like MRIs and pathology slides, and it learns to spot those early signs of disease, stuff that even experienced doctors might overlook.
Wow, so it's like AI has superhuman vision in a way.
Kind of, and it's not just images. AI can also quickly and accurately find those tiny genetic mutations that can cause disease or affect how someone responds to treatment.
That sounds like a game changer for personalized treatment, finding the right therapy based on those specific mutations.
Exactly. It's all about finding the right treatment for the right person.
Okay, so we've got the diagnosis, maybe with AI's help. Now, how does AI help doctors choose the best treatment and the right dose?
AI is becoming a crucial part of that decision-making process. It can predict how individuals will respond to different therapies based on, their unique biological makeup.
So it goes beyond just their age and gender.
Right. It's a much deeper dive.
So I've heard of these clinical decision support systems, or CDSS.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Do they use AI?
They do. AI-powered CDSS can analyze a ton of patient data and give doctors personalized treatment recommendations. So instead of just relying on those general guidelines based on averages, AI can look at your specific health profile and suggest the best treatment, the best timing, and even the best dose for your meds.
It's amazing. We're finally getting away from those generic one-size-fits-all approaches.
I know, right? It's like finally having medicine that truly fits you.
So all of this is great for treating diseases, but what about preventing them? Can AI help us there too?
Definitely. AI is making big strides in preventative medicine and personalized lifestyle recommendations. By looking at your genes, your lifestyle choices, and even your environment, AI can tell if you're at a higher risk for certain diseases.
Wow, so it's like a crystal ball for your health.
In a way, yeah. And this early warning let doctors recommend preventative measures and give you personalized advice on how to change your lifestyle to lower your risk.
I can see how this would be super helpful for things like heart disease, diabetes, maybe even cancer.
You got it. AI models are already being used to predict those very things.
That's pretty amazing. Okay, so we've covered how AI is transforming how we diagnose and treat diseases
And prevent them.
and prevent them, right? Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of discovering new drugs.
All right, let's dive into the lab.
So where does AI make its biggest impact in the drug discovery process?
It starts right at the beginning with target identification and validation. This means figuring out which protein or gene is causing the problem.
Okay, so finding the bad guy.
Exactly. AI can go through those huge biological data sets and pinpoint those troublemakers much faster than traditional methods. And then machine learning models can predict how potential drugs might interact with those targets.
So AI tells us which drugs might actually work.
Exactly. It gives us a head start.
And didn't AI recently have a big breakthrough with predicting the structure of proteins?
Oh, you're talking about DeepMind's AlphaFold.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
It was massive. AlphaFold can predict the 3D structure of proteins with incredible accuracy. And knowing a protein's shape is key because it tells us how it works and how drugs can bind to it.
Ah, so it's like having a blueprint for drug design.
Exactly. It's like having a key to unlock a door. So overall, AI has really accelerated the early stages of drug discovery. We can find promising drugs faster, and we can validate those targets much more efficiently. That was a major bottleneck that AI has helped us overcome.
That's a huge win. Now, this might be a silly question, but can AI actually design new drugs from scratch? Like drugs that have never existed before?
It's not a silly question at all. And the answer is yes. AI can create brand new drug molecules, molecules that we've never seen before.
Whoa, that sounds straight out of science fiction.
It's pretty amazing, right? These AI systems, they're trained on these massive data sets of chemical and biological information, and they learn to design new compounds with specific properties that we want.
So AI is like a virtual chemist brewing up new drugs in the computer.
You got it.
Yeah.
And not only can AI design these new molecules, but it can also create virtual 3D models of them and simulate how they would interact with their targets. This is called virtual screening.
So we can test drugs on the computer before even setting foot in a lab.
Exactly. And that saves a ton of time and money. It lets us focus on the drugs that have the best chance of working. And we're even seeing generative AI models that can design proteins from scratch with crazy accuracy.
That's mind-blowing. Okay, so we've got some promising drug candidates thanks to AI. What's the next step?
So traditionally, the next phase is lead discovery and preclinical testing. And AI is playing a big role here too. AI algorithms can rank the most promising molecules based on how well they're predicted to work, how safe they are, and how the body is likely to process them, which we call pharmacokinetics.
So AI is helping us weed out the duds.
Exactly. It's like a quality control expert.
So we're narrowing down the field.
Precisely. And AI models can also analyze data from lab studies and animal models to predict if a drug might be toxic.
Oh, so we can catch safety issues early on.
Yep, before they reach human trials. And that saves so much time and resources, not to mention potential harm.
Makes sense. And AI is even being used to figure out the best way to formulate a drug, like making sure it's stable and dissolves properly.
Exactly. It's optimizing every step of the way.
Okay, so let's talk clinical trials. They're notoriously long and expensive. Is AI helping to make that process more efficient?
It is. AI can help design better clinical trials, predict outcomes, and even help recruit the right patients for the trial. It can even help find the best locations for trial sites and monitor the data as it's being collected.
So it's streamlining the whole process.
Exactly, trying to make it faster and less costly.
Now, I've heard the term digital twins being used in this context.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept.
What are they?
Digital twins are like virtual models of patients created using data.
Ah, so we can simulate clinical trials on the computer.
Exactly, we can do in silico trials before we even start testing on real people.
That sounds like a game changer for getting new treatments to patients faster.
It has the potential to be.
Okay, last but not least, what about drug repurposing? Finding new uses for old drugs.
That's a hot area right now, and AI is playing a big role. It can analyze huge amounts of data and find connections that we might miss, revealing new uses for existing drugs.
It's like finding a hidden talent in an old friend.
Exactly, and it's a much faster and cheaper way to find new treatments compared to developing a brand new drug.
I bet that's music to the ears of pharmaceutical companies. So let's shift gears and talk about the companies that are actually putting all this AI magic into practice.
All right, let's see who's leading the charge.
We hear a lot about AI in healthcare, but who are the real players?
There are some big names in pharma and biotech that are really embracing AI. Companies like Genentech, which is part of Roche, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Sanofi, Bayer, GSK, Merck, Bristol-Myers Squibb, and Takeda. They're all actively exploring and using AI in their research and development.
Wow, that's a lot of big players.
It is, and it shows you how seriously they're taking AI.
So can you give us some concrete examples of how they're using AI?
Sure, Genentech, for example, they have this lab-in-a-loop approach where data from their experiments and trials is constantly feeding back into their AI models. They're using AI for everything from designing personalized cancer vaccines to finding new antibiotics.
It's like AI is becoming their research partner.
Exactly, it's a collaboration.
That's pretty cool. What about other companies?
Pfizer has teamed up with a bunch of AI companies to boost their R&D efforts, and they even used AI to help develop their COVID-19 vaccine, which was a big deal. AstraZeneca worked with Benevolent AI and found a new drug target for chronic kidney disease using AI. Sanofi has a ton of partnerships with AI companies, all focused on speeding up drug discovery. And GSK partnered with Exscientia and developed the first AI-designed treatment for COPD that's now in human trials.
That's a lot of progress.
It really is.
It seems like AI is quickly becoming a must-have tool for these major players. What about the smaller, more nimble companies, the startups? Are they making waves too?
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole ecosystem of AI-powered startups doing some amazing work.
That's awesome to hear. Give us some names.
There's Exscientia in the UK. They have this incredible AI platform that covers the whole drug design process. They were the first AI drug discovery company to go public on NASDAQ.
That's a big milestone. What about others?
Benevolent AI, also in the UK, uses AI to speed up drug discovery, especially in tough areas like neurodegenerative diseases. In silico medicine, they have operations in both the US and China, and they have this super integrated AI platform. They actually hit a major milestone recently. Their AI-discovered drug for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, it's in phase 2 trials now.
That's fantastic news.
It is. It shows the real potential of AI.
So who else is on your radar?
Well, Recursion Pharmaceuticals, they use AI and automation to analyze images for drug discovery. Then you have Atomwise. They're all about deep learning for designing small molecule drugs, and they have tons of partnerships. Icatos, a French company, they're big on generative AI for creating new molecules. Relay therapeutics, they combine computational and experimental approaches to develop really targeted therapies.
That sounds like a powerful combination.
It is. And then you have Tempest. They're using AI to personalize medicine. And they even have an FDA-cleared algorithm that can detect atrial fibrillation from EKGs.
Wow. So AI is moving into diagnostics too.
Big time.
Who else is out there?
PathAI is applying AI to make diagnoses more accurate, especially in cancer. And Citro is using a cool approach. They combine lab data and clinical data with machine learning to find new drug targets. And then there's Zyre Therapeutics, a brand new startup that just got a ton of funding. They're all about generative AI, specifically to design drugs for diseases that we currently can't treat.
It's amazing to see this level of innovation across the board, from finding those initial targets to making diagnoses. Have there been any landmark moments, breakthroughs that really showcase this progress?
Absolutely. We already mentioned Exscientia's AI-designed drug entering clinical trials back in 2020. That was huge. And DeepMind's AlphaFold, predicting protein structures so accurately in 2021, that was a real game changer. And then in silico medicine, their AI-discovered target going into phase 1 trials in 2022, and then their AI-designed drug entering phase 2 in 2023, those were huge validations of the technology.
It seems like things are moving really fast.
They are.
Are there any numbers on how many AI-aided drugs are in the pipeline?
As of early 2025, it's estimated that over 3,000 drugs have been developed or repurposed with help from AI. Most of them are still in early stages, but it shows you the scale of what's happening.
That's a pretty impressive number. And what about AI in diagnostics? Any notable achievements there?
Definitely. AI is improving the analysis of brain scans for stroke patients. It's helping us detect Alzheimer's and COPD earlier, and it's even finding epilepsy lesions that were missed before. It's also helping us understand which genetic mutations affect cancer treatment and making personalized cancer care even better by integrating all sorts of patient data.
It's clear that AI has the potential to revolutionize medicine, but let's be realistic.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges or roadblocks that we need to address?
Well, first off, data is everything.
Yeah.
AI models need tons of good quality data that's complete, accurate, and unbiased. But getting that data, integrating it from different sources, and make sure it's accessible, that's a big challenge.
Yeah, data is always a tricky issue.
It is. And the regulations for AI and drug discovery are still being worked out. We need clearer guidelines.
Right, so the rules of the game are still evolving.
Exactly. And we need people from different fields to work together effectively. Biologists, chemists, data scientists, AI specialists. But that can be tough to coordinate.
Yeah, breaking down those silos is always a challenge.
It is. And then there's the fact that biology is incredibly complex. Building accurate models of biological systems is really hard. And of course, all of this requires a ton of computing power and expertise.
Those are some real hurdles. But given all the investment and activity in this space, the benefits must be pretty compelling.
Oh, they are. AI has the potential to make drug development way faster and cheaper. It could help us create more effective treatments thanks to personalized medicine and gene therapy. And we might even be able to tackle diseases that we haven't been able to treat before.
So like cracking those undruggable targets.
Exactly. And AI could increase the success rate of clinical trials, which would be huge. And it could help us find new uses for old drugs, which is a really smart way to use resources. Ultimately, AI can give us a much deeper understanding of how diseases work, and it can help us make sense of all this complex biological data we're generating. It could even help us design and run better clinical trials.
So we're talking a fundamental shift in how we do medicine. Now, what about the future? What are some of the big trends and projections?
Well, we're seeing a lot of convergence between AI, big data, and all these omics technologies.
Yeah.
Generative AI for drug design is exploding, and there's a huge push for drug repurposing using AI. We're also seeing tons of partnerships between pharma companies and AI companies, which is great. And the advances in computing power and cloud technologies are really fueling this revolution.
Yeah, computing power is like the engine of AI.
It totally is. And the rising cost of traditional R&D is pushing pharma companies towards AI. They're realizing that they need to embrace these new technologies to stay competitive. And there's a particularly strong focus on oncology right now.
Makes sense. Cancer is such a complex and challenging area.
It is, and AI has a lot to offer. But it's not just about drug discovery. We're seeing AI being adopted across the whole healthcare landscape.
So it's not just in the lab, it's making its way into the clinic.
Exactly. It's touching all aspects of healthcare.
That's super exciting. So what does the future hold for AI in healthcare?
Well, the market projections are really positive. We're expecting to see huge growth in the next few years. AI is going to keep advancing in pharma, And gene therapy is going to keep getting bigger. We're also going to see more remote patient monitoring using AI, and AI is going to be at the heart of future clinical studies.
It's a brave new world.
It is, and it's happening fast.
One thing that really stands out is the importance of collaboration. We've seen all these partnerships between big pharma and innovative AI startups. What's driving that trend?
I think it's a win-win for both sides. The big pharma companies, they want to use AI to make their drug discovery process faster and cheaper, from finding new targets to running clinical trials, even managing their supply chains. And the AI companies, they bring the expertise, the platforms, and often even promising drug candidates. A lot of these collaborations involve this back and forth process where AI suggests compounds, the pharma companies test them in the lab, and the results are fed back into the AI to refine the predictions.
So it's like a constant feedback loop, making the AI smarter and smarter.
Exactly. And the goal is to make drug development more efficient, to get effective and personalized treatments to patients faster, and to improve health outcomes overall.
Well, this has been a pretty intense deep dive.
It has.
What's the one big takeaway for our listeners?
I think the key message is that AI isn't some futuristic fantasy anymore. It's here, it's happening now, and it's changing everything about how we understand and treat diseases and how we discover new medicines tailored to each person.
And despite the challenges, the potential benefits are huge.
Absolutely. And with all these collaborations between big pharma and these agile AI startups, the future of medicine is looking pretty bright.
This has been an incredibly insightful discussion. Now, for our listeners out there, think about this. As AI gets better at integrating your own health data into these powerful systems, how might that change your own healthcare experience? And what does it mean for society as a whole as we enter this new era of data-driven medicine? It's a lot to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.